I bet you those refs are being cussed out today. Because
For
you
what?
don't foul out Steph. You don't foul Steph
Don't
out on a game
foul.
like that.
They tried.
No,
It
that's
was
like
an obvious
saying
foul.
that's like saying that may
It
be
was an
true.
obvious foul. They had to call
You
it.
don't foul out
Yes,
Steph
you do.
Curry
If the
on a
motherfucker
game
foul,
like
you
this.
foul his ass
Absolutely
till
not.
he fouled out.
Then LeBron needs to be fouled out on every single game.
You want to know how you know when my team lose? When they get on the
You know what I'm
podcast the
saying?
next day talking about some
You know
refs
what I'm
fouling.
saying? I'm telling you something.
Anywho,
That shit came down to the final seconds. Each team missed a field goal, and literally, I mean, great. I'm excited for Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he deserves, he's 42, which is like being 90 in the league. But, he's physical, like against the Baltimore Ravens. And it was just that's what I'm talking about. I was like, oh, the Ravens, oh, they got it. And then I was like, oh shit. The last 2 minutes was crazy.
Let go. Hey, okay, I know I'm here to stay. Counting on my wins, so I can't play it safe. Try to go against us, get you out the way. Go hard, it's the only way to play. Let me say, I'm a trendsetter. I'm a go-getter. I'm a trendsetter.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sportsing. We all your girls. This is a new year, new energy, same sports chaos, because let me just tell you, I'm your host, Gloria Govan.
And I am Erica Lynn O'Keefe, and this is the show where we break down sports so that everyone can understand what's going on, even if you didn't grow up in the locker room, but also if you did, you can just rap with us a little bit. You feel me?
Very true. Let's go.
So y'all know we got to start with the NBA, of course, because see, last time we were here, which was some months ago at this point or whatever, my little team, the Los Angeles Clippers, listen, okay, shit was crazy.
Struggle bus.
Super struggle bus. We was firing folks in the middle of the night, losing streaks. All things was we lost all of November. Like shit was crazy, right? Everything got wild. But two things I will say: sometimes vibes be bad. You got to remove some bad vibes to lift a little veil. I'm not saying there's any correlation. All I'm saying is since then we are 7 of our last 8.
Yep.
We are like 1.5 games back of the play-in. We're only like 8 games back of like the 6th seed with a lot of season left to go.
Mm-hmm.
You had asked about like kind of the loyalty to Kawhi.
Yep.
This is why.
Because he has shown.
Well, this is the thing. If healthy is always a big if,
yes,
right?
Because James isn't playing.
He didn't play yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's a monumental if, so we know that.
Yeah.
However, if healthy, Kawhi is top 3 in the league. So this is why you stay with him.
Okay.
This is why you do
why
it.
You're loyal.
Why you're loyal. So, I mean, obviously, naturally, the parade is back on. All of Clipper Nation is sipping the juice again.
I will say, though, I did hear a rumor, and I guess it wouldn't even necessarily be a rumor because Ty doubled down on this and was like, I challenged the team and the guys. So essentially what he said was like, I challenged the team for us to go 41-41 by the end of the season. So basically 500, right? And so it was like, it was a certain amount of games that they had to win. Yeah. And essentially the team was like, bet. Like, let's go.
Kawhi talked about it in a post-game interview, and he was like, it actually was really helpful because we're humans, right? And like, this is actually really good, even whatever level of sport that you're playing, whether it's youth sports or anything like that. We've had a guest that came on and talked about that. I think it was Chris Johnson who was talking about it. Like, a lot of times if you give anybody any kind of objectives, any type of goals that maybe not even the lofty ones, right? But just little check marks, little benchmarks, then it's much easier for me to wrap my head around it. If I have to think, oh my gosh, we're the 12th seed right now. We have to somehow overcome and win, 18 straight games by April. Like, I'm going to lose my shit. But if I'm like, all right, I got to win 38 and, 10 games or 20 games or whatever it might be, whatever that, okay, I could do that. You know what I mean? So that when we lost against Boston, of course, we didn't want to lose, but at the end of the day, the world doesn't end because we've already allotted for the fact that we're probably going to lose at least 18 to 19 games.
I think it ended up being like if they win 7 of every 10 games or something. So to your point, it's like, all right, we already lost 1. Now we could really only lose 2. Those are more feasible, more attainable goals.
You can do something with that.
I agree.
You can do something with that. And it's one of the reasons why I could never come all the way to the live fire tie thing. You know what I mean? Like, because he's still one of the best in the game. And I get it if we ultimately just need a fresh, my whole perspective was always if we need a fresh start, then I get it. But like in terms of how good this dude is when he has the pieces to work with.
Ty?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best.
Exactly.
I think he's one of the best coaches.
And we're seeing that now even with young Kobe Sanders, who's our rookie, who's from San Diego. Shout out to my family in Dago. him getting the confidence to be put behind him and the players, like believe in him. There's a story, I got little sources. There's a story of a practice where he was going at some of the vets, and the vet was getting in their feelings about it. And he was like, listen, if you ain't healthy, don't come out here because I'm going at you every time.
I heard
And
that.
the rest of the vets was like, absolutely. Like,
Yeah, we love it.
stamped.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
going.
yeah.
Like, you go. You know what I mean? And we're seeing it translate now what he's doing on the court. Like, he had a hell of a game, yesterday and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm, obviously I'm being facetious when I say, real about the parade. But but if nothing else, I do think that if we can at minimum make it to the play-in, we become a dangerous team for anybody if we're healthy. To the point about the Thunder, they had started off hot and everybody just crowned them already that they were already going to make it.
Girl,
and
everyone
stuff.
was like, and our
Yeah.
champions once
I'm
again,
like, if
our
y'all don't
three-peat, our
calm
two-peat,
down,
yes,
like,
everyone
let's all
was,
relax.
yeah,
And now
that's fair.
they've come back down to earth a little bit, and reality started to hit, and they've like lost, like I think they're like 6-6 in the last like 12 games or something like that. Wemby and them might have broke them a little bit because somebody. So
Wemby.
Shai did a post game interview after the Spurs had beat them, I think for the third time or whatever it was, and he was like, they're just a better team than us, and da da da. And somebody on my timeline was like, you never admit that a team is better than you. Like, you can say, hey,
Yeah,
they had a better
publicly,
night,
sure,
like
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, they
But you
showed up
never- and all
tonight,
that sort
yeah,
of stuff.
but
And between that and J-Dub saying that they would beat the 96 Bulls and the 2000 whatever it was
Yeah.
Warriors, they've been downhill ever since then. You got to listen.
But I will say this too, I think it's very like close. Once teams adjust, right? Like you are at the top, your peak, your players, then you start, then other players start studying, they start showing up, they start watching game film, and then you ultimately end up getting a better, competitive season. I think that's what's happening with the Thunder is that people are like, bro, they're over the, this kind of like they're the team,
they're unbeatable.
they're undeniably the champions already. People are like, okay, y'all, like let's just slow down.
Play
here,
the
people.
game.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Right.
And it depends on what whistle they get. If they're not getting the whistle that they've been accustomed to getting, then they become a very different team. And the whistle that they do and don't get has a lot to do with why they've been able to dominate the way that they have. And it's funny, always when it's teams like that where universally most fans can agree that their whistle was insane, and you see their coaches and stuff complaining about fouls and all that stuff, you're always kind of like,
sir,
if you don't
cut it out. Speaking of last night's game, this was the Warriors Clipper game.
Yes, my Clippers beat her.
Right, but
Warriors.
also they fouled out Steph Curry, which hasn't happened in 9 years.
He was fouling.
But neither
He actually could
here
have
nor
he actually could have
there.
fouled out before he hit them 2 back-to-back threes. They
And
didn't
maybe
call
so,
it.
but I bet you those refs are being cussed out today. Because
For
you
what?
don't foul out Steph. You don't foul Steph
Don't
out on a game
foul.
like that.
They tried.
No,
It
that's
was
like
an obvious
saying
foul.
that's like saying that may
It
be
was an
true.
obvious foul. They had to call it.
You don't foul out
Yes,
Steph
you do.
Curry
If the
on a
motherfucker
game
foul,
like
you
this.
foul his ass
Absolutely
when
not.
he foul out.
Then LeBron needs to be fouled out on every single game. And
That's
he
crazy.
hasn't been fouled out a game in a decade?
That's
12
not
years?
true.
Bet. Yeah, look, she got quiet
No,
because she
not
knows
even
that shit
that.
is true.
Listen,
That's very true.
There's
because
never
this is
a
the problem.
conspiracy in favor of the Clippers,
This
so we
is
don't
the
have
problem.
to do this. Like, we don't have
This is
to
the
do
problem.
this at all.
One, there is that what was it? That putback because that shit
Now
did
that
hit.
was fair.
That did hit.
That should have been goaltending.
I was gonna say Steph Curry. Steve Kerr goes ham.
Yeah,
Did you hear Snoop's?
it was very funny. Snoop actually,
When he started
that was
growling,
hilarious.
I fell out of my seat.
That
So
was one of
there's
his
that.
funnier
So
moments.
if you guys weren't watching, Snoop commentated for the first time. He commentated the NBA because he's been commentating or will be coming back for the Olympics. His commentation was outrageously hilarious. But anyway, the referee's definitely being cussed out today because you don't
They're fine.
do that. Bet. They're not going to do that again for another 9 years because
He probably won't foul 6 times.
there's probably an opportunity.
Every single one of them will
Every
foul.
single person in that arena wanted to see if Steph was going to hit a buzzer
I
beater.
don't give 2 shits. He should have
Buzzer
fouled out.
beater.
He should have fouled
So
out.
refs know better. I bet you.
You want to know how you know when my team lose? When they get on the
You know what I'm
podcast the
saying?
next day talking about some refs
You know what I'm
fouling.
saying? I'm telling you something.
So obviously, the big thing that is happening right now
Yes.
is we are finally made it. By we, I mean some of us, some of our teams have made it
Okay,
to
the
the
Raiders
NFL.
got number 1 pick. You know what I'm saying?
They
Woo!
did. Listen,
Yes.
the Raiders successfully tanked this season. So good for you guys and all my
We do
Raider
so with
Nation
an art.
friends.
You know what I mean? We do so with an art. We're
It's not
so
an easy
good.
thing,
It's
so I
not,
heard.
you
But
know?
they
We
they
do so with
did-
flair.
They did tank. So we have made it to the NFL playoffs, which will be kicking off this weekend with the wild card games.
Yes.
I am obviously very excited. I'm nervous but excited at the same time. My Niners, I don't know how, baby.
Let me tell you, baby, those Niners
I don't
came
know
and I was like,
how. Okay.
I
And I was
dreaded it.
really disappointed that we couldn't pull it off against the Seahawks. Ironically, our offense was the one that didn't show up. Our defense, did all that we can ask of them, but to get the 1 seed in the bye because we are battered and tattered. But we
Y'all
did
need a
it. So
rest,
we made
yes.
it. So we made the wild card game. It should be. I don't know that there is any teams that feel
Girl, this whole thing, the whole entire time has been very unpredictable.
sure.
The only thing that's predictable is that it's unpredictable.
Right,
I
right, right,
can't
right.
put, I was like, oh, we should make predictions. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not setting myself up for that kind of failure.
Oh no, we're
I
making
have
wild card predictions.
absolutely not a clue who would do a thing. For example,
Yeah.
when I think I was texting you about the Ravens game.
Yeah.
The Ravens-Pittsburgh game. That shit came down to the final seconds. Each team missed a field goal, and literally, I mean, great. I'm excited for Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he deserves. He's 42, which is like being 90 in the league. But he's physical, like against the Baltimore Ravens, and it was just this. That's what I'm talking about. I was like, oh, the Ravens. Like, I was like, oh, they got it. And then I was like, oh, shit. The last 2 minutes was crazy.
I just feel so bad for Lamar Jackson because
I know. Poor
he
baby.
did
Pobrecito.
everything. He has consistently done everything. They want to question his career. They want to kind of make him seem like he is not
Came back from
that
an injury.
dude. Yeah, and all the stuff. He came back. He gave everything that he could to put his team in position, and for it to come down to
A goal is
the field goal kicker
crazy.
missing it after they missed the extra point.
That's
was
right.
Just so like,
dude, you know how many
heartbreaking.
death
I
threats
know.
he's
I was
about to
like,
get?
somebody better listen. Put that man in protective custody. And
Right.
y'all don't listen. He already
get
feels
crazy.
terrible enough. Don't do that. That's not nice.
Yeah,
or
no, it's
whatever.
gonna be.
But it was
gonna be
a
wild.
great game. And their rivals, like, yikes. So sorry, Ravens fans. But so
So
now
bad.
we're moving on to the wild card games.
Yeah.
So on the NFC side, we will be playing. We the 49ers will be playing. We'll be playing the Philadelphia Eagles, in Philly.
Yeah.
We are no stranger to whipping their ass in Philly, so I'm not necessarily not worried about where it is. I'm more so just worried about whether or not we get Trent Williams back because he's such an important piece to our O-line, and whether or not we get Ricky Pearsall back, who is our top receiver. If we can get the two of them back, then
you got a shot?
then go Niners.
Yeah. Okay, but real quick before we keep diving into the schedule, this is how the playoffs work. The NFL now uses 14-team playoff format, 3 wildcard teams per conference, plus 4 division winners and 2 teams with first-round byes. So that's what E was referencing when she was saying that, the 49ers could have gotten a first-round bye. This weekend, it kicks off. We have games starting Saturday, Sunday, and then we end with a Monday night game. Your Rams and your Panthers, your Packers and your Bears, your Bills versus Jaguars, your Niners versus the Eagles, Chargers, and the Patriots, and then we'll finish it off with the Texans versus the Steelers.
We're gonna do some predictions. Okay, so obviously Rams over Panthers.
Yeah, I agree.
Barring something crazy. Packers and Bears is interesting. That is another rivalry. A heavy rivalry, a good one, actually. Bears have been playing really good football. Fight on, Caleb. Caleb Williams went to USC, so I've watched him since his college days. Love him. And so the Bears have been playing really good. They actually are pretty good on both sides of the field. The Packers are kind of one of those, like, they are capable of having that one game.
Yeah,
that,
but if they show up,
but
is the
you
question.
just kind of don't really know.
I'm
I
still
don't
going
really
with
know
Packers.
how healthy Jordan Love is. You're going Packers?
I'm going to Packers. Is it going to be like an upset?
I'm going to go Bears.
Okay.
The Bears.
The
Okay.
Bears.
And then we have the Bills and Jaguars.
Okay, this is where my shenanigans jumps in, guys, because I really enjoy the Jaguars, and you guys already know I'm going to come with some shit because first of all, their mascot's adorable. Love the colors, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to go with the Jaguars. I just feel like they're way better to root for.
Okay.
I'm going to show up in some merch. I'm not because
Okay.
It's cute.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback for the Jaguars, and they've actually been playing some good ball themselves, quite frankly. I mean, it's actually really good quarterback. I don't know that he in his career has fully had the opportunity to show what he can do, but obviously this is the stage for them to do it. The Bills have probably the more pressure on them because of Josh Allen, and for all these years that they've been trying to put him on the pedestal. He's been an MVP and just has not been able to get over the hump. And for the first time, he does not have to deal with Mahomes or Lamar Jackson.
Yes,
so
true story.
If the Bills don't at least make it to their conference championship with no Mahomes and we're going to have a very different conversation about Josh Allen at this point. And I love me some Josh Allen personally. Like I love him, and I like the Bills, and Bills Mafia is like one of the craziest fan bases.
I feel like,
out
is there
there.
a buck coming in there? Are you going with the Jaguars? There's a buck coming in here,
They're
guys. I'm just waiting for it.
In Jacksonville.
Their mascot's really cute.
I am going to. Okay, my head says Bills.
Okay, my
by
heart
a small
says.
margin. My heart says Jags. I'm gonna go with Bills.
Come on over here. Whoa! I was like, come on over here with my Jaguars.
I'm gonna go with the Bills, but let the record show I would not be shocked if the Jags win it.
Fair.
But I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm going with the 49ers.
And just because of that, you already know I gotta talk shit, so I'm going with the Eagles.
Go for it. And then Chargers and Patriots is interesting. So Patriots to me has been the team to beat in the AFC. They've consistently been really, really good. They're playing at home. They're playing behind a very MVP candidate in their quarterback.
I'm going with the Chargers.
Really?
Yep. I'm going with them.
So
I'm picking.
My only concern about the Chargers is that they're the Chargers.
Right, that's fair. But we're in LA.
No, they're playing in New England.
I know, but like it's more of an LA team.
Oh no, listen, I love the Chargers. Chargers are my AFC team because of LA, obviously. However, there's reality here. And Justin Herbert's hand, I think he has a broken thumb or something, whatever he's playing through, is my biggest concern. He had surgery on it some weeks ago.
Yeah.
And if he gets hit wrong,
it's over.
It kind of gets dicey. He's a soldier. Like Justin is gonna go out there and play no matter what. Like they got to rip the thumb off at that point, whatever that. So like I love him, salute to him. But that would be kind of a big concern for me against a Patriots team who again is just really playing good football.
All right, so thumb intact. Chargers or Patriots?
My heart says Chargers. My head says Patriots.
And follow in your heart, girl. Follow your heart.
I got to stick with the other LAC.
There you go.
So let's go Chargers.
Woohoo.
And then last but not least, Texans and Steelers.
I mean, I am a fan of the Steelers because I feel like I want this coach to win finally. Like he has been hanging on for dear life. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Aaron. So
Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, their coach. Yes, love me some Mike Tomlin. Like, love him down.
Yes.
I have Steeler fan friends. Shout out to you guys, but I'm actually going to go with the Texans. I really think that their defense is just that good.
All right.
Their offense makes me worried. I really like their quarterback. I really like him, but their offense is shaky. And
it's inconsistent.
Yeah. And that would be the only thing that has me kind of like,
maybe.
But something just feels like their defense just might be good enough to allow their offense to do just enough.
You got to put faith in the veterans, girl.
No, for sure. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it.
Ever.
So, like, absolutely, all respect. And again, to your point, like, Mike is one of the best, like, all the things. And they're in Pittsburgh. So, all the things. However,
Texans. She said it.
I'm going to lean Texans.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard our predictions. When we come back, we will either gloat or not and make up excuses for why we lost.
Absolutely. I'm going to have all the excuses in the world.
Okay. Well, these games are set. Home field matters. This is true. This is what we just talked about. Some of the, teams being at home and all the things. Seeding will decide who's favored, but upsets also happen every single year. But this weekend, it is the march to the Super Bowl. So or at least, kind of the journey to the bowl. So we'll get started.
Yep. And then after that happens, the following weekend will be the divisional rounds. And then we get to the conference championships the weekend after that. And then we get a break for 2 weeks. And Super Bowl is going down in Santa Clara, which happens to be the home of the 49ers, February 8th, 2026.
Just say San Francisco.
All I'm saying is,
my goodness,
is that it just so happens to be in San Francisco.
Oh, at their old arena, too.
No.
Candlestick?
Levi.
Oh, I definitely... Don't worry about me, guys.
Candlestick is out of here, girl.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, dang, they're bringing it back.
It should be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be good. We'll keep an eye on things for you. We'll keep you posted. And let's see, we've got next. Okay, so speaking of, we'll stay on NFL for a hot second
Sure.
because this is what happens after the season, everybody. Black Monday happens.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? Don't confuse it for Black Friday, y'all, because this is not a good thing.
Not fun.
Black Monday happens basically after this season, and all of the coaches get fired. So the Monday after regular NFL season ends, teams that like underperformed basically began firing coaches. Yep, you got to go. So 4 coaches this week have been fired. Raheem Morris from the Atlanta Falcons, Kevin Stefanski from Cleveland Browns. So we'll get into a Shedeur.
Mhm.
Thank you. Pete Carroll from the Raiders.
Yikes.
I don't think he had a chance, but here we are. And then the Arizona Cardinals coach, Jonathan Gannon. So Gannon, right?
Well, he,
Yeah.
on the Pete Carroll front,
But this is my thing with coaches, and this is why I'm like, because at what point do you go like, your GM? At what point do you look at your players? At what point are you like, how do you give a coach that little time and be like, you didn't turn it around in, 6 weeks? It's like, well, I mean, come on now. First of all, you have Crosby over here talking, they're like, he had to get knee surgery. And this asshole goes home and starts videotaping himself playing basketball with his daughter. I mean, they got a lot going on, right? They moved to Vegas. They just, give me a break, man.
I hear you.
Anyway, I'm back.
They obviously said he had to go.
He did. And he's
Atlanta, I think, is
really
one of
good
the teams
coach.
that also fired coach and GM.
Oh, see, that makes
I
sense.
think there was like maybe a couple that added in the GM with it because it was like, listen, you was bad, but
you right? Because I feel
were
like
real bad.
you have to look at the GM when you go.
Yeah,
when you
I
fire
mean,
a coach. You
I
just
think
have to.
so. NFL is a little interesting when it comes to the coaches thing. One, I think that they do allow for the most part their coaches to have a little more tenure, like than
Yes, more
like
time
in
than
like
like in the NBA, or
or something
anything.
like that,
Yeah.
or whatever, a little bit more time.
Fair.
For that very reason, injuries are so much more prevalent. All the things. But I think when you enter into a space where there are certain areas of your team where you're 0 in such and such, or you're like the worst in percentage of, if
Mhm.
you have the worst offense out of the league, if you have the worst defense, if you have the worst
But is that you can't
everybody
just
got
go
injuries,
coach?
baby. You can't.
No, yeah, injuries first, but you can't just go coach.
Well, but everything NFL is heavily dependent on scheming. NBA, the difference with NBA and the reason why it kind of sucks for coaches is NBA is you come up with a game plan, you come up with a scheme, but ultimately it really just boils down to what the players get out there and decide to do in a sense of
True.
where, they,
Yeah.
they can audible,
Do you
whatever.
feel like the football players don't have as much freedom?
Not really, it's too many people, too many moving pieces. So when they call a certain defense, now, okay, so quarterbacks do obviously, like there's a head coach says
Yeah,
play,
into
they
the
can't hear
thing.
anymore,
Yep.
then quarterback decides whether or not that play is going to work based
Or
off of what
not.
the defense and
Yeah.
or not, of course. But like what the defensive scheme is, what the offensive scheme is, how you make adjustments, all that type of stuff is on the coaching. Like the players are going to run the routes that they're told to run.
So
They're not improvising as much as they are in the NBA scale. So yeah, no, coaching is
do you go
really
offensive because
important.
there's several coaches on the football front,
You have to
right?
start with the head.
So then you go offensive coach, defensive coach. You go, like you've got a lot of. I think there's like no,
But they
I
all
agree.
go with them, typically.
Sometimes yes, sometimes I don't think
Yeah.
so. I mean, it depends if you've inherited a team or other coaches and all the
New
things.
coach is probably gonna bring in their own coaching staff anyway.
Right, which leads us to the Shedeur issue. You know what I mean? Because that's the kind of like, and we just dumped right into that because she was gonna keep trying to go on my Raiders, y'all, and I was like, hold on, let me find a
listen,
pivot.
I don't
you know
know
what I'm
how much a coach is gonna
But-
matter, regardless. But
It's so bad. It's so bad, guys. I need y'all to figure it out. Okay, so that does lead us into the Shedeur conversation because Shedeur is constantly in the headlines, and if you guys don't know, I'm sorry. But so basically, his coach was just recently fired because he plays on the Cleveland Browns. Now, most of the time, very similar to like all sports, when your coach goes, then your quarterback position starts to get a little shaky, because in football, a lot of the franchise relies on your coach. I mean, on your quarterback. And so, you get a lot of like, can this guy represent the team? Can he hold the team up? Is he powerful enough in the community? Like, you get a lot of other variables that sway whether or not this quarterback is going to work for their team or not. Now, most of the times when coaches get fired, the quarterback kind of becomes on shaky ground. Question mark, does Shedeur? So the question is Shedeur kind of now back in the hot seat? Is he going to go, be traded? Is he going to stay? And if so, what coach will end up working with him? So that's kind of where we are at with the Shedeur thing?
And I think the tough part specific to the Shedeur of it all is that it depends on, no matter what coach they bring in, it's still always going to boil down to ownership and upper management and how they feel about him and what they want for him and if they want to see him succeed and if
Yeah.
they're going to put their
If
best
they
foot
believe in
behind
him.
him and all that type of stuff. And right now, I think that still remains the question. You know
If
what I
they,
mean?
yeah.
You
if
know what
they-
I mean?
yeah.
And so
That's fair.
because the sabotage of him, I don't think just started with the coach. And so I wonder whether or not, I mean, listen, by all accounts, when he finally got a chance, he did what he was supposed to do. He showed up in the way that he was supposed to, and he has great potential to be a really, really, really good quarterback in this league if given the opportunity. Especially with a Cleveland team that typically has a pretty solid defense. You know, they got some
They're not terrible.
pieces that they can work with around him. So I think it will remain to be seen, and perhaps we'll know how serious they are about him and supporting him by their new coaching hire because depending on what that coach is and how that coach speaks of Shedeur and works with him in the offseason, you know, and all that type of stuff, whatever, we'll kind of get an idea whether or not they're going to be behind him or not.
Right.
But I feel like I don't know.
There's no way.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they are or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I do think that he's kind of back in that kind of.
That's one thing too about football is once the coach goes, there's no like immediate relief. You know what I mean? They take their time. There's no coach that just kind of slides up, you know, not actively type of thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they kind of take some time to interview and figure out
And what they want to do, especially because what happens a lot is that they in NFL they do a lot more poaching, so they're
Other
they're waiting for other teams, and a lot of times
true.
the coaches that they want are playoff bound teams, so they have to wait for those other teams to give them permission to like
To
have the
talk to
interviews
them.
and all that type of stuff. And like quite frankly, if you coach my playoff team, you okay. He'll holler at you after January or February 8th or whatever, hopefully. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
right now, today, I need him to focus.
Yeah.
So that's also part of kind of like what takes the more time, unless they just already have their guy, you know what I mean? Which,
Yeah.
you know, does happen, obviously. But that's a lot of what takes the time because they're usually trying to go after coaches that are actively still in season or whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Shedeur, but I really, really hope that, you know, he's given a full season and a real fair shot to really see what he can do because, you know, the kid has carried himself. All things considered, he has handled everything well. He has carried himself well. His interviews have been really good. You know, he's saying the things that he's supposed to and handling himself how he should. You can see the Shedeur mania. You know, the kids are doing his, you know, even other teams and other players and all that stuff. Like there's obviously seems to be a big support behind him from a fan and even player perspective. So
Let's
I
just see
hope
if the
that,
organization
we'll see if the org
gets
gets behind
him.
him and let him do
Yeah.
his thing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay. So that is NFL. That's footballing and all the things. Okay, so we're gonna go into Parents Corner.
Yes, we are going to do Parents Corner. So if you are new here, we love to do a little segment called Parenting 101, where we dive in a little bit about kind of understanding the landscape of youth sports and what's going on. If you are a sports parent and you're wanting to know, you know, how, what, where, why, where to start, what is this? What does that mean? That's crazy. All the things. We're going to do our best to kind of share some of what we know, what we're learning. Obviously, Gloria's boys are literally in the thick of things. Our babies, they're almost on their way to college soon, and so we're living it in real time with you guys, which allows us to kind of learn the things together, and kind of share experiences that are happening, and then kind of go from there. So, we're gonna talk a little NCAA right now, which is a little crazy. There is a lot
Wild
of
West.
recruiting that is starting to begin for early high school, especially with the high school about to start their season. That's all eyes are pretty much on the high schoolers in terms of recruitment. There's also the transfer portal that is happening, which allows for like constant movement, and has really, really, I think in a lot of ways, there's the NIL of it all, which we'll kind of talk to a little bit, and that has caused a lot of ruckus. But the transfer portal, as a result of it, is what has really made things super crazy. It is caused, so traditionally, right, you know, you're in high school, you get recruited, they want you, they offer you a scholarship, you say yes, whatever.
It used to be very black and white.
Yeah, and within certain time periods. And now, because, which I think is part of the conversation, something that we can kind of talk about, but there's like, all right, well, in any league, right? Like there is a deadline. There's a trade deadline in sport, in the professional sports and all that stuff. At some point, there has to be a transfer. You know, like we got to start to put some regulations around how this happened, because it then slows down the regular recruiting process,
Right.
because teams are so busy trying to see if this player is going to transfer from this school first before they want to give the scholarship to the next and all that. So it has created chaos.
It is an absolute chaotic circus right now. Like, it is literally the wild, wild west. I mean, athletes are the reason why this has become such a thing is because recently athletes are going from like pro G League industries and leagues and things like that, and are now returning back to college. There's this kid, James Najee, that just he left basically your G League. He was a two-way player, which means that he could play in the G League and or go up to the NBA and play. And he just recently left that opportunity and went back to Baylor, which is college. And when I tell you there are pros for him, because that makes sense. There's more money available in college. There's more opportunity for him to play consistently, whether he's home, he's in the States, etc. Now, the cons are just like explosive, right? The reality that you have now taken away an opportunity from a younger kid. You have, affected, like, one position affects a lot of families, a lot of different areas that they're trying to figure out, perform for. It takes away, obviously, like a roster spot. It delays opportunity for incoming freshmen, which is what E was just referring to as well. And then it just narrows down the opportunities for not only high schoolers, but college kids, to figure out where exactly they could be effective. And it's, look, I get it. You chase the bag. Bills are billing. Everyone has a bill to pay, and I understand, or people to take care of, including themselves. But is it fair then that you are basically like kicking someone out of their position, or
because you didn't make it at the high level when you decided to go?
Because you're now playing at a level that maybe you're not as successful in, so now you have to go back, and it's frustrating because it trickles down, right? Yeah. Like Eve was just talking about high school, and yes, we are in our families in high school, so I'm being dragged through the trenches. And there's a reality now that freshmen don't, and college coaches have said it 1,000 times. We are not and aren't going to be recruiting freshmen unless you are the Cooper Flags of the world or the Boozer Boys, etc., which are few far in between. So anybody, even my own kids, even though they're above average, they're still not your Cooper Flags, right? So you still have to go through your traditional, recruiting process. Now, the reality that NIL is available is great, but it's affecting high school. For example, there are kids now transferring to lesser schools because they're getting $30,000, $50,000. And I know that sounds like a lot, but in hindsight, you're going to blow through that in a month, especially if you got to take care of your family, all the things. So now you're on a lesser stage, right? Like, you're going to play, sure, but then your eyeballs aren't on you. You're miserable because your team fucking sucks. You probably don't like the school anyway. You've got to transfer. Your family has to move. Like, so many things are happening. Instead of just buckling down and go, okay, we're here. This is my kid is good or needs to develop, et cetera, et cetera. And then just be loyal to your program. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of bouncing around, because then the loyalty becomes inconsistent. Your playing time becomes inconsistent. And I get it. The 2-time holdbacks are frustrating because now you have 16-year-olds playing against 19-year-olds. And that type of body development.
Yeah, it's huge.
Girl.
It's a world of difference between a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old, and then a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old.
And then 18-year-old and 19-year-old. And these motherfuckers are showing up full facial hair and arm sleeves, like tattoos, which is crazy. They probably have kids somewhere. and it's just now you've got, now we're celebrating, senior dunks. And it's like, no. I need you to say 19-year-old,
right, exactly.
2-time holdback senior dunked on this 14, legit, is collecting 401k, just dunked on a freshman.
He's supposed to.
He is supposed to. Let's stop celebrating what really is mediocre. Like, that's crazy, guys, ladies, gentlemen, families. Do you hear me?
Also has to impact development as a whole, and where we're going with sports, even as these young people try to transition to higher levels, right? Like, there's two things happening here. There's either the people who legitimately believe that their kid can make it into a league, which obviously we know is few and far in between, because there's not that many that make it into any respective league, or you're trying to get as much money out of it as you can while you can.
That's right.
Cool. Now, if you are one of the ones who are trying to make it to the league, and let's say you went and played semi-pro or whatever it was, and now you're going back, say, buddy, while development is important and you could develop,
Maybe.
right? But if playing with them,
Yes. Yes.
you didn't 9 times, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah,
so
you rode
at
the
some
bench.
point, you got to pivot,
Mhm.
go into sports medicine, go into, you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, we
Commentating,
got to figure
girl
out where
agency.
the pivot is, because to your point, it isn't, and I know life's not fair and all the things, but it isn't really fair to all these young kids who can have an opportunity to come
Right.
up, who can have an opportunity to go further, who can have an opportunity to get an education, you know, and further his life, whether it be in sports
Mhm.
or not, and all things. Like, unfortunately, capitalism ruins everything in every facet of our society, in a lot of ways, because greed is not regulated, and it is a part of human nature. And so when it's the right thing to treat student athletes as professionals, because the NCAA and the colleges are making, and the coaches are making
Billions of
billions of dollars
dollars.
off of their
Yep.
back. So I do think it's the right thing to have done
Sure.
in terms of, NILs, in terms of, being able, them to be able to use their name and likeness. But I do think that we did it without fully thinking it through,
Yeah, there's no
and
real
putting any
execution.
real execution, putting any regulations, putting any, like,
Yep.
and it's such a, I grew up in an era with the O'Bannons, who've been fighting this fight for a very long time. If you've never heard of Ed O'Bannon, UCLA great and all the things, and a lot of those players from that era who had been fighting the good fight on the NIL, we could do a little segment on them another time to talk about it. It was a courageous and necessary thing, but anything done without having contingency plans, without having kind of forethought, without having kind of like a big picture and kind of thinking about things down the line, you're just setting yourself up for disaster.
Mhm.
And I think we are in that, like, if we aren't already in disaster, we're in danger zone. And I know that there's people that are trying to figure out how to mitigate this in the best way possible, but I just don't know what there is to do. And so if you are a parent with young kids who have a certain level of talent, and they're at least being looked at or considered for the next level, what would you say is just kind of how to keep yourself level-headed and keep your kid level-headed as they kind of pursue trying to get to?
No, good question. I mean, look, we're here. We can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? And we are, I think, beyond danger zone, because I think everyone just threw the spaghetti at the wall to try to figure out what could happen or and so now we're dealing with those circumstances because there is no execution. There's no organization either, which is just wild. And I feel like one of the things as a parent that you can do, you can certainly help your child understand, is that um, everyone like peaks at a different point. I think that there's there's a two-way street, because I understand that, like, it's a short period in time to make as much money as humanly possible, right? So understood. But there are also things that people aren't looking at for, what's forthcoming. Like, for example, when these kids don't pay taxes, because are you a 1099 or are you now a W-2? How do you then file that? How do you have a management plan, financial literacy around that? Because it's not only the kid, it's the families or them surrounding them. Understanding that these agents, really anything beyond, I think it's 3 to 7%, is literally usury. So if you're being charged 20% on any contracts, is like, go speak to somebody else. So educating yourself on what's available for your child, I think having them understand now that there is a level in which you have to really dedicate your time and loyalty to those who are, like, essentially loyal to you. The hopping around in high school is becoming very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. And it's, in my opinion, in reality, we haven't seen that be successful for anybody.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we haven't seen anybody, like, jump, hop around, and then suddenly be like the number one.
Yeah.
These kids are getting the same. That's another thing too, is like, kids are choosing different schools. And it's like, but if you stayed at that school, you could have still gone to Sac State.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
didn't get picked for Duke.
Yeah.
Like, you all of those options were still available to you. You didn't have to go to 4 different
And
schools
you
in
probably
4
would have
years.
developed better, quite frankly.
Because now you have, same program, same
Consistency.
consistency, same team camaraderie,
Yep.
a coach that believes in you, wants to build a program with you. Like, you're missing out on that.
Yep.
So I think that's what really parents aren't realizing, is that in the long term, this isn't a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, at the end of the day, it will, as we said throughout the year, we will definitely keep the conversation going around kind of how to navigate this thing. We'll do things kind of going all the way back to the beginning, when they're, still
Babies.
babies, elementary, when it's a good time to really full throttle it, all the things, especially with the landscape kind of ever changing on a day-to-day basis, and
Yeah.
kind of how to get through there. But I mean, if nothing else, I think it's just staying rooted in reality. You know what I
Yes,
mean? It's
100%.
always the thing. Like, we want to encourage our kids. The sky's the limit. They can go as far as they want to go, and all the things, and that is 100% true. You know what I mean? And your baby could definitely be that one in particular, right? So no one wants to be a dream killer. I think that is the number one downfall of any parent. I do think there is a way to support dreams while also making sure they understand the realities of what's happening out here,
Mhm.
and how much more difficult things have gotten, so that the disappointment, if it doesn't go a certain way, doesn't impact their self-esteem and their
Sure.
belief in themselves. Because a lot of times, like, growing up as an actor, you get told no way more than you do yes. And if you don't know that, hey, I could have not gotten that role simply because I wore purple that day, and that casting director hates purple, right?
Sure.
That has nothing
Yeah.
to do with my performance, has nothing to do with what I look like and all that stuff. My my acting teachers telling me that really helped kind of keep some sense of, because otherwise, if you're constantly getting
You're
told
like,
no,
"My
you're like,
God."
it's me,
Yeah.
and I'm
Right.
fucking
I hate it
crazy.
here.
Now your whole self-esteem's on. Now we in therapy. It's a lot going on. And so I do want to encourage parents that, like, through the process, you stay grounded first.
I think too, to your point, because longevity matters, right? Like, every parent wants to see early hype. Every parent wants to see their kids on list, and everyone wants to see their kid highlighted, and everyone wants to be, their kids' names in everyone's mouth and all the things. I can guarantee you guys, as a freshman, as an 8th grader, great, that might matter today, but that does not matter in the longevity of things, because when someone says he's the number one recruited freshman, come talk to me when that boy is a senior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So just, you guys don't fall into this like thing of like this hype and this social media scheme, because it's going to be super detrimental to your kids' development. And to E's point, it just, even allowing them to fall into it, it hurts their self-esteem and hurts their development. It's crazy how one bad thing can erase weeks and months of progress. So just keep them present. Just, let them know, sure, you're maybe not on the top 100 list. Okay, also you're a freshman, or also, you're a sophomore. And even going into, also, you're a senior, like, there's nothing wrong with a development year. There's nothing wrong if you start looking at some of these kids who are in the league now,
Mm-hmm.
and you start looking at their journey. That's what I really appreciate what commentators are starting to do, is go, he spent a year at JUCO,
Mhm.
and then he went to this D1, and now he's in the league. And it's like, yeah, kids, they did the work. They did the work, and they stuck with it, and they put their 10,000 hour plus in, and you're still going to have to do that. Even if you are number one as a senior, you still got an uphill battle. Sorry, baby. And it's just going to, continue to be there. So don't get on yourself. Don't get on your kid because they're not doing this, or you don't think they're that, or because they haven't been mentioned, or because colleges aren't reaching out. They're not going to. And stop posting, I've, got an offer. No, you didn't. No, you did not. No, I'm just kidding. You can keep doing it. Do a thing. But,
let's stay grounded.
let's keep it real, guys.
Stay
Keep
grounded.
it real.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, that was
So we're gonna talk a little women's hoops.
Yes, super quick. This thing is,
super cool, super quick. So obviously there's still no new CBA
Yeah.
agreement to be finalized. So a lockout sounds like it is on the horizon. And
I think
so,
so.
obviously the players are watching closely and trying to figure out what's gonna be, but it doesn't sound like they are really coming close to terms yet.
No.
So we'll kind of see how that goes. But in the meantime, Unrivaled has kicked off. It started this week, and it is, if you have not checked it out yet, is it still primarily on TNT?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it is on TNT. It is such a fun
Yes.
league. All of the star players are there. Paige was playing yesterday, and she was killing as always,
Yeah.
and talking cash. She
She's
did
so
an interview.
cute.
I love me some
her.
Paige.
I love
Listen,
her.
I gotta need to give me a jersey. I want to get her Unrivaled jersey because I think it has purple in it. Anyways,
She talks
I mean, I'm
about
just
me with
saying,
colors, I tell
it
you.
it's girl sport. It makes. But anyways, and so she did her post game interview or whatever, and she was like, yeah, she was like, the team we were playing. So her team is all like young players, and
Oh, okay,
then they were
nice.
playing against a older team, and she was like, yeah, they were telling the refs like, don't give them calls. They young, they didn't deserve it. She was like. Please, like we
Please,
here,
right?
baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we getting everything we came for. Like, they trying to play us like we babies. Like, sure, get the fuck.
I
I was
love
like,
her.
yes, Paige.
Yes.
But it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
a 3-on-3 tournament, competitive. It includes 54 current WNBA players. And
Yes.
like I said, some of the faces of the league.
What I love about it is that it mixes up the teams, right? So there's not your traditional teammates. And so you get an opportunity to see how players like, jive or don't. They work well with each other on the court or not. So it's really cool to just see them, go. And it's held in Miami all 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be at one game.
We're gonna go out there. We're gonna give you some stuff from the streets.
Yes.
And hopefully get to talk to some of the players and some of the people around the league. Nafisia Collier, who is
her and her husband basically started Unrivaled.
Right. Unfortunately, she is gonna have to have
She's
surgery,
not
so
playing,
she's not
yeah.
gonna be able to play. So that sucks. But what she has started is obviously just so incredible. So
She's sparked a fire.
hopefully we'll get to have some conversations when we get out there and kind of
Yep.
keep you guys posted on how the season is going as it gets underway.
Yes, ma'am. And as we are close to wrapping up, we're just going to give you guys some final thoughts on some of the things that are like quick and, quick hitters. Obviously, we'll start with the Raiders.
Oh my
Did get
gosh.
number 1 pick. So
And shout out to Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns. He got all-time sacks record, which was incredible
yeah,
to do.
shout out to
so
him.
pretty good.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Speaking of congratulations, Cat Carl Anthony Towns, if you don't know, proposed to his girlfriend Jordan Woods.
It
was very cute. She holds him down.
Listen, that is her boo. They are so
Don't play
cute
her.
to me. And also shout out to all the little NBA players, like all these little sports players. They are
Yes.
snatching the girlies up.
They
okay?
are. And
All
they're
my
showing
boo.
up courtside, honey.
Listen, Coco
what?
be at them games,
What?
baby.
Meg
okay?
be walking in.
Listen. Also, you know what I hate about it is that so Jaylen Brown, when we played the Celtics on Saturday, apparently he had went salsa dancing with Victoria Monet.
Oh,
Right? Listen,
doesn't he?
Jaylen
have-
Brown stays with a bad one, okay?
Yeah, wasn't he just with?
They haven't been together for a little while.
Okay, just
yeah,
me.
No,
Oh, let me
Jaylen Brown
stop.
stays with a bad one on his arm. I ain't mad at him at all. He might have a little polish on his hair.
I was gonna
but it
say, yeah,
don't-
that polish may come off on the pillowcase,
Listen,
but
it don't
baby,
matter because clearly, okay. And then Victoria came to the game apparently, and he went off for 50. Listen,
they are showing
the
up
girls
when these
be
women
showing
step
up and
in.
these men go crazy
They be
at
like-
these games.
That's like when Shaq was like, "Give me the ball." Holly Berry came to see me.
Hello?
They are not
Hello?
fucking playing.
So
I
shout
love
out
it.
to y'all for wiping
Yes.
up these beautiful R&B girlies is getting
Hell
it. I
yes.
ain't mad at it.
Amen.
But yeah, the Jordan Woods thing was really cute.
Yes, I know. And speaking of couples, Venus just got married.
congratulations.
Yeah, she's so cute. She had like 2 weddings. I think she wore like 8 dresses, honey.
As she
And
should.
all of them things were bad. And bad in a good way.
Yes.
Y'all be trying to play me.
Right, exactly. No,
Yes.
She looks amazing.
Exactly. She looks stunning. Her and her sister were absolutely fabulous. And she's also returning. She's going to be playing the Australia.
Oh, is
Yeah, the
she?
Australian Open this year.
You know what? Hell yeah, Venus. Fuck it. Keep playing. Keep playing
Right.
until you just absolutely don't want to play no more. I
Exactly.
know that's
Because you
right.
you
Yeah.
can do it. You a
Yeah,
baddie. Go
fuck
ahead,
it.
girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Tiger Woods turned 50.
who would have
Crazy.
thunk it?
Where's the time gone?
Oh my goodness, that is wild. Golly, I feel like I remember when his dad introduced. You know what I mean? Like was here, it was
Exactly,
the
it's
whole thing.
thing. And then when
Anyway.
his ex-wife was chasing him around with a golf
Right,
club, like we just been through so much with Tiger. So happy 50. I'm happy you made it to 50. Hello? Happy 50th to you.
She sure did. That man crashed into that fire
Baby,
hydrant
it
so
was
quick.
like, you gotta be fucked up.
Right, all these goddamn girls. Okay, anywho, that's it. Really,
did
look
it.
at us. We did a thing. Thank you so much to our day one to have stuck with us. It's a new year. It's going to be a lot of new us's.
Yes, and welcome to all of you new folks. We hope that you guys enjoy what we do. We have to talk about every other week is just us kind of keeping you up on what's going on in real time. And then
Yes.
we have some incredible guests that are going to be coming on this year that we're really excited to share their stories with you, share their advice and all the things. So this is another
Sportsing.
season of Sportsing.
Sportsing, chicken. Boots, enter sound.
Of course, you guys know where to find us.
Yes.
Everywhere where you get your podcast, please make sure that you are liking, subscribing, sharing, telling a friend, commenting, interact with us. If there's things that you want to hear about, let us know, email us, whatever it is. We like to engage. We like to hear from you. And it also helps us grow. And the more you help us grow, the more awesome the show gets. So we want to say
'Cause we're
thank you, and
awesome.
we'll see you next week.
Bye.